introduce you some of my last very interesting research about security, especially around integration. Let's just start digging inside the session because we have a lot of things to discuss about. Something about myself. I'm technical director in Hitachi Solutions. I lead the cloud security and cloud enablement practices inside the company. Describing myself, I would say many of you, I'm sure they know about my person since a long time. I was first the Beanstalk Grinch. I spent many years working with Beanstalk Server in the integration stack with Microsoft and so on. I did a lot of conferences with my dear friend Sandro Tord, Saravana, and Steve Chan, and many other people. This picture is actually representing myself completely. This is myself, always like that and digging stuff and doing things. People joking with me a lot about that, but that's my passion, right? So, and this is what I do in my life. And I'm a hacker. And a hacker, I would say, in a meaning of the sense of hacking. So I just like hacking everything about technology. This is where my passion coming from. The first time I use a computer, I just was trying to hack something with BitTalk. Do you remember I created the BitTalk NOS-DIN, right? That was a big hacking. I mean, this tool to improve BitTalk productivity and development and so on. So this is actually myself. I'm always hacking everything, and security, of course, is one a big topic for me where I can actually I would say put all my passion on it, all hacking passion I have on it. I'm Microsoft MVP since 2006, so 15 years. I did a lot in my life also about security, not just about integration. I did a lot of governance in cloud and so on. And I got certification, as you know, many people need to do that. So I also like, to dig in this topic in a proper way. So I did the ethical hacking certification, master in cybersecurity. I'm doing now the CISSP certification, and I will go for the OSCP. So, guys, this is just life. So this is how technical people and geek like us, all of us, we do. First of all, very important, everything we are going to show you during this session, I'm very serious on that. That's very, very dangerous things. We will discuss the different things, attack and defense integration. But what I'm saying is everything I'm going to show you is very dangerous things, very effective. So be careful how you use this. So please, everything you learn today, just keep for your study and to improve your system, to defend much better your integration solution, everything like that. About the agenda, it's very simple, red versus blue. So let's dig in immediately about this concept about red and blue. Red in security is everything about attack. Offense. So we attack the system. We try to attack and hack a system in any way. Why that? Because that is the best way to better understand if we have any weakness in our system. So what we do in the red side, we try to attack this technology or this solution in any way externally. You will see today how many ways an hacker or a criminal can actually hack your system, your solution. That is actually the red. Why red? Why we use the red? Because this is the best exercise you can do to understand if you have weakness and to learn how actually hackers or criminal can attack your solution, your integration solution. And you learn a lot from that because you cannot understand how to defend your solution without learning, understanding how you can attack your solution. You have to think like a bad guy, a very bad guy, a very bad one. That's where you are going to come up and say, yeah, all right, I can get hacked in this way, I can get hacked in this way, and this and this. So what I need to do, I need to act in this way and this way to defend my system. The blue team. The blue is actually the opposite. The blue is the person and the teams where is going to act as a defense. It's going to look always about, all right, okay, what I can do to defend my system. So I can use this, I can use that. I can look about my people, I can look about my process, I can use specific technologies for that. So it is very focused on the defense side. That is something you need to keep in mind always when we speak about security. Depend by technology. The technologies we will discuss about that. So, what about my studies? I start conducting a lot of studies on that. I like to use these GIFs because they really describe, in some way how I actually act, how I think, everything. So the recent studies I conduct in security was for the last several months. It was about the two main topics. I was looking for the most effective attack to the cloud. How I can actually attack the cloud in a best way. How a criminal can attack the cloud in a best way. And the other was about to find the most critical vulnerability. So looking about in general, about technologies, we have a lot of things. I know many of you know about this slide, and that's impressive. That is seriously impressive. That's all technologies that actually, used, they involved about security everywhere. Everywhere. We have firewalling, we have network security group, we have identity management, we have so many things here. That's crazy. That's if you look up something like that. This is something that when I look at something like that, I say, oh my gosh, the first time I've seen this slide, I say, whoa, oh man, that's really too much. That is a lot. And you can see there are many technologies and many layer, everything, antivirus, all these kind of things. There is one common thing that I got from my study that's the most important is the attack are often coming from the internal. That is the main point. That is the main point people need to understand. The first things when we think about security is, all right, that's human, right? That's human. What we do as a human, we go inside the home and we close all the doors. That's for us is like, okay, I'm secure, I'm okay, I'm okay. Right, because we tend to close everything around us, but we often underestimate internal. So that is something that it may happen in real life many times, and it may happen a lot. It happened a lot in technologies, a lot. And this is where criminals are able to perform the most dangerous and effective attacks. So I started looking on this in the integration and looking about how I can attack, apologize, sorry, how I can actually attack integration solution from the internal. And I found something very interesting. So let's start now from the red side. This is how I split the session. Now we are red, okay? Now we are in an offense side. Many people enjoy this because this is how you are going to look about how hacker thinks. You are going to see how hackers are going to attack your integration solution, how much you can be vulnerable in your integration solution. And after that, we are going to the other side, in the blue side. So first thing first, I start looking on this and say, okay, there is a lot of people looking about serverless now and discussing about serverless. We use a lot of serverless in integration, a lot. A lot of technologies actually depend by serverless. We have Azure Function. Azure Function is serverless. Logic App is serverless. App Service is serverless. API is serverless. Container is serverless. Docker is serverless. Subfabric is serverless. Everything is serverless, I would say, in the cloud now. So we use a lot in the integration, the concept of serverless, and we use a lot serverless in the integration. So that is starting intriguing me. I say, okay, that's actually right. This is correct. So when we look about serverless, what actually is serverless? Maybe some people they don't really get the meaning of serverless, but serverless is a kind of way, technology way to provide backend services to people. So they use mobile, computer, wherever it is. We have this large scale platform that can actually scale up very, very fast, very quickly, like that. Scale up, scale down, all these kind of things. And this is cool. This is fantastic. It's cool. We need to do that. We need to admit that. That's fantastic. I really love that. And when we look about serverless architecture, let's dig in a bit more. So when we look about the serverless architecture, we look about the serverless with cloud services. For cloud services, as I mentioned, I was mentioning about function. I was mentioning about app service, about web jobs, about even logic apps. A lot of different things, right? So we use a lot of different things, even Power Apps. I will show you something about Power Apps and Power Automate. Well, serverless is also Docker and Kubernetes. People are discussing a lot about that, and we have a lot of noise and buzz. And I say it's Federal Fabric. And as you can see, cloud services are hosted in an app service plan, even Docker and Kubernetes, they use container. Service Fabric itself is a concept of container. And this is where my studies start looking about, all right, okay, let me think about that. Then I think a common pattern here. I think if I look about this, everything is a container. I mean, app service is inside a container. Is a container, sorry. App Fabric is a container, Docker is a container. So everything in cloud actually is hosted. It's actually a container, right? Is hosted in a container. Then I start thinking more and more, okay, you know what? I know, start thinking like a hacker, thinking what I can do with a container. What actually is a container? A container is an operating system. It can be an operating system. It is an operating system. So and that's really something that intrigued me. So I started going inside and let's just go. I just needed to know how deep the rabbit hole goes. So, and I started looking much more inside how I can attack this. First things first, I was looking about what is the most effective attack I can use. And all people use in general. I can tell you this. This is where you get hacked most of the time. And this is the most effective attack ever. The offense is the top one, this one. So starting from the social engineering, identity theft, and after that, malware reverse shell. What is this process about? Usually criminal conduct the social engineering. They look about people in your company, your developer, you, engineering, any kind of person inside the company. They collect information wherever it is. And as the second stage, what they do, they theft your identity. They look to impersonate you. And when they are able to do that, then after that, they're going to attack, contacting the people in your company, okay, and presenting themselves like you. This is how hacker actually does. Just for fun, Sandro, I see Sandro is here listening the session. Now, Sandro has been hacked by myself during an experiment this way, exactly in this way. That was funny, right? It was very funny to see Sandro and the face from Sandro when he got hacked, okay? Because he was trusting me. So when I say how it works, so we have a social engineering. After that, we got everything, and the hacker is going to theft your identity. And after that, he take ownership in the time. When he's able to access in your system, then he can take ownership. He's going to take start and looking in your system and creating other account and do other different things. That is one way normally used in the solution. Another way, of course, when he got access in the system, okay, one day too, they install a malware or a Trojan, which actually, what is this? This is something that contains a malware, is a software, is a malicious code. This is where the attack is coming from the internal. I think you're thinking how this may happen, an attack from the internal. Yes, that attack from the internal, one of the most effective attacks is the reverse shell attack. How it works, the reverse shell attack. Well, that's very simple concept. A very simple concept is the firewalling. They are actually able to block port, right, from external. That's what the job from firewalling. I block you. I just block you. You cannot access in my system. But the firewall, then they are not designed in general to stop, application to communicate from external. So we need to keep some port open. Otherwise, how our integration solution are able actually to speak outside and communicate with other technologies. And this is where it's coming from. And this is the reverse shell attack. So the attacker usually is coming and in trying to get the connection, is trying to attack your integration solution in any way, but it's actually not able because there is a firewall. But what if is actually the victim? So it's the system who is going to call the attacker, right? So this is how reverse shell attack works. So it is actually your system that is going, your integration solution that is going to contact the attack and say, hey, I'm here. You can speak with me, right? And we can use any port for that. One of the most used port, which I think is very useful port for that, is the 443. And we know 443 is always open because we need 443, right? For SSL, communication, everything like that. We cannot close 443 port. We need to keep 443 port open, right? So this is one of the most used port for that. And starting from that, I start thinking about, okay, what is one of the most used tool for reverse shell? There is a very famous tool, and this is Netcat. What I'm showing you here, that's not hacking tool. That is not a hacker tool. It's not correct. Many hackers use that, of course, but this is actually an administration tool. This is used from administrator to connect in reverse shell and can do a lot of different other things. They can check networking, they can work across networking, they can do a lot of different things, and it works via TCP/IP and UDP protocol. Of course, Netcat, what is good, it can accept a reverse shell. And that is the good things about reverse shell. So, and sorry, about the Netcat. So that's a tool we can use to perform a reverse shell attack. How we can start a reverse shell attack? There are several ways. I'm going to show you now one of the things and other very effective way to do that. One of the things is this one. This is a physical attack. So very briefly, I want to show you this because it's very interesting point. There's a DigiSpark. This is as you say, the unofficial brother of Arduino. You can buy this one in Amazon for $8 per chip. You can program this one as Arduino with Arduino ID. And what is good is I can change this one and make this one as a keyboard. What I can do is using Arduino IDE, I can program this one and make this one in a way that when I insert this one in a server or a computer or in a laptop, then the laptop is going to say, oh, that's a keyboard. Okay, cool. And after that, because it's an Arduino, I start sending keys inside the Arduino and actually simulating a person that is going to write down text like that. And this is, is very easy attack to conduct, especially if you leave your laptop like that or wherever it is. A malicious person is just insert this one or can hide this one in a USB cable. There are a lot now. They call it OMG cable. If you look in internet, OMG cable, that's very scary. It looks like exactly as a cable to load your phone, to charge your phone, wherever it is, but it's actually is a DigiSpark inside, something like a DigiSpark inside. Let me show you something now. And let's start hacking. And let's do in practical in the right side so you can actually see for real how this happened. I think I have, let me see, what? This is one is the DigiSpark. I already programmed this one and so on. So let me open here a couple of things. I have a couple of Linux machine in the cloud. One is this one. The Linux machine, what is the role about the Linux machine? The Linux machine is the attacker, is the hacker, is the person in there, is the hacker with Netcat open. So now I'm going to open Netcat here. So now Netcat is actually active. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert this one in my USB like that. So now the computer say, oh, there is a keyboard here, everything. So, all right, it's going ding, 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 ding. Now, boom, and it start. Now he's downloading the payload and he's executing the payload. Okay, this is what he's doing. If you look about the Linux machine, you see what I see? Okay, this is actually my machine. Okay, now I am inside my machine. So this is a Linux machine from the cloud accessing to my machine. If I do a notepad, I can even execute the things. It's opening another Windows, but I can show you is here. All right. This is one of the attack I conduct to Sandro. And for Sandro was very scary because Sandro is saying, what is going on in my machine? And apart from the bad words he told me, for that it was very funny. But that is the point, right? So he got access to the machine, and I'm actually to do that. So I'm actually to do a reverse shell attack. It's my machine calling the attacker, and I can do wherever I want. I'm accessed now on the operating system. I can do wherever I want, right? So that is reverse shell attack. And another scary thing is I can guarantee you I have Defender enabled in my machine. Even Sandro, he has Defender active in the machine. Sandro can actually say that and say, yes, that's true, okay? I've been able to write some of the code in a way that actually is able to avoid the Windows Defender, which is something that I will need to discuss with Microsoft after this session. All right, so that is, yeah, Sandro is actually saying that is true. It was true. Now, let me remove this one because otherwise I got the keyboard running like crazy. And let's go now inside the integration stack. And I'm going to open now some of the things that are very familiar to you. We are going inside some of the solution. We have function, we have web jobs, we have many other things. Of course, we have a Linux machine running in the cloud, waiting, is the attacker. So what I did is, I give you the scenario now. You have thousands of Azure function developing your cloud, Logic App, web jobs, wherever it is. We know that. We use a lot of these things everywhere. So what you're going to do is deploy this stuff in the cloud, of course. But you are unaware that one developer, which actually is a criminal, has been able to inject a very little piece of code in one of your functions. It doesn't need to be something big. It's very, believe me, something very small in one of your functions. And you say, well, okay, all right. So what's happened? That's what's happened. You put this function, you deploy this function, you deploy this function in a container. We know that. So for each, we know the function, web jobs, logic app, they are inside a container is actually a service plan. I simulate this one. Of course, I cannot show the code. So this one is the code I write, and the code is down here. I put some spaces here because I don't want people now. There are too many people here, and I don't want people just look about. Actually, he has been able to do something like that. So actually, what I did, I create a reverse shell attack from Azure function. And what I did is this. So I'm going to show you how it works. So this is the Linux machine. Now I'm going to execute the Netcat, and I'm going to listen from port 443. Let's now remove this one. I put this one like that. And now I'm going to do a test run. So you are executing the function, you're executing your code, everything like that, and boom. You see? So the function was running, it is running. That's what you see here. believe it or not, that is the container. That is the app service container containing the function, right? So this is something that is actually containing, is the app service containing this function. I can do many things here. That's, as you can see, this is the host name. Well, actually, it's something that Microsoft create. When you create a function, everything create an app container. You know what is the bad things about here is that I'm not the person authorized to access to this container, right? It's the code calling me as an attacker, right? That is the scary part of this. And I got access on this container. So remember here about this name. What I'm going to show you now is exactly the same thing, but in another way. I tried attack from another side. It was this one. Let's try with this. So I start digging on this and say, what about web jobs? This web jobs is hosted in the same app service container. And what I did, I inject the code, very little one, and I start testing. And I ran this one. And now it's trying to execute everything. I'm actually testing, attempting to run this one. It's being triggered right now. Let's see. Boom. I mean, that is the container. That's a web job, right? But I'm in the same container like before. I'm exactly in the same container, same name. So this is even worse because an unauthorized person got access inside the integration container and it got access to any. I can guarantee you, I got access to the web jobs directory, to the web job logic app, or wherever other things is inside this container right now. Another type of attack in integration that other technology I can actually hack like that, and that is even another thing very scary, is Kubernetes. This, as you can see, is a Kubernetes cluster. Is actually hosting an app service, an app API, wherever it is, okay? And that is also a project. That's a web app. It's app service. And in this app service, a hacker is being able to inject some part of this code in the application. So the bad thing is, let's see what's happened. I'm going to execute this one from Visual Studio. I'm going to simulate the container now. All right, now it's starting. This one is starting. Okay, and this one is actually the application. Okay, this is the app. I put a page here so you can see actually how it works. I put a button attack. I'm going to execute the malicious code. But think about this malicious code as being executed. It can be executed in many different ways, in a procedure, in something, wherever it is. So you can execute this code almost any kind of part of your integration solution. So I click attack, and boom. I mean, that is the container. The cluster is the container. So if I do there, but this is more curious. This is why I like to show you this. Is this. This one, because I'm Visual Studio now, is even worse. It is even worse. Now I'm actually even more the developer. And because I'm executing this code, that is actually my machine. All right. So think about this scenario. So this type of attack in a container, it works in two different sides. It works in the cloud because this one, execute in the cloud, execute in a container, it works. I can guarantee you it works. So run the containers, run the web app, people access to your web app, they click the button or wherever it is, execute the code, the hacker got access in your container, which contain your application, everything. And he can look about everything he wants, right? Or wherever the account is able to look, right? So second thing is, think about the developer. Think about the developer executing the function. Developer is developing the function using Visual Studio. The developer developing the web app like that in Visual Studio. and is not aware that is actually the solution is actually containing this piece of code, is testing, executing, and the moment the developer is going to execute this code and start testing and doing things, he get hacked, right? So that is even more scary, even more scary situation. Another last things is, let's see this one. What you can describe. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. I see. There is a bad guy. I like to understand a bit more about that. No, I'm joking. No. Yeah, I can explain a bit more about that. Let's. We have a bit of time, so I like give you something because I understand. You say, okay, Nino, whatever. You are telling me that is the way, so reverse shell attack and how it works. Let's dig in a bit more here. How actually it works is in this way. This one, all right, this one is actually part of the code. Okay, what is going to do this code? And you can do this in many different ways. You can do this also using PowerShell and many other different languages and many other different things. So how it's going to do is, as you can see, is going to open a TCP connection for the port 443 from the container, okay, or from wherever is the application, okay. This is actually how this one is going to work. Okay, removing all the other stuff, but this is actually how it works. So this is what is going to be is executing the code. The code is going to say, hey, I want to make a call. I want to make a call for a command shell and a request from a command shell via 443 port using TCP protocol. This is how actually work the code, okay? And as I said, the 443 port, it is open. I conducted this attack in many different integration technologies, wherever it is, it works almost everywhere, okay? Because it is a meaning of, I think it's the meaning of reverse shell, and maybe it is the point about people, you know, and technologies now in cloud using containers, okay? How many of solution are using actually firewalling rules inside containers and many other things, or even antivirus? You cannot even think about using antivirus or something like that in a high-scale container or a concept like that. And this is why I think this attack is very effective. The problem I see also is another one, and everything in the cloud is actually being contained by something. I showed this attack to Microsoft 2 weeks ago, and they've been very, I would say, surprised about this attack, because actually I started thinking, if everything is being contained, let's look about what actually other things I can attack like that. And one of the things it was this one. Let me open this one. I think it is, yes. So it's this one. This one is a Power Up. This is a Power Up. Power Up is a software as a service. We know that. But it's contained by something, right? So any software in the cloud is being contained by something, and it can execute code, it can execute stuff. And what I did, I try inject some kind of code inside even the logic app. The app container. I create an app connector, which is a custom app connector, and inside this, I inject some of the malicious code. And I try it. I can show you here. Let me show this one, and let me close this one. Now, I'm trying to actually execute the same attack now. And this is an app container. And this one is some code is going to change from lowercase to uppercase texting, so very easy stuff. It's just about the demo, but this is a custom app automate that I can actually use or deliver to someone and say, hey, look, you can use this, and people can use this and integrate inside the flow. So if I now do a test operation, Now this one is actually running, and you can see here the attack has been completed. And if I do this, that is the directory. That is actually the directory inside the container of the app automate. I'm discussing now, not now, but I need to discuss with Microsoft also on that, because that is not good. It's something that I think it must be dig in and is something, you know, this kind of attack is so easy to perform in many different technologies. So and so let's go back now and see much more about what is the meaning of that. Why I show you all these kind of things. We have been able now to go and do some different attack. I just did many other type of attack. Other technology exploitable, yes, a lot. Bixel server, I can guarantee you, I've been able to conduct this attack in Bixel server. Very easy. Why? Because Bixel server is able to execute code. So I inject a part of the code inside pipeline, execute, and I actually been able to open a reverse shell attack in Bixel server. What exactly means? It means that I got access inside the server hosting Bixel server, right? So how bad is that? That is bad. Definitely is bad. Honestly speaking, how many people are actually going to control these kind of things or wherever it is inside a server with Bistro server? I work a lot in Bistro server. I've seen a lot of different scenarios in Bistro server, and from my memories, I can guarantee that this attack is able to work almost everywhere. All right, so this is one of the things. Even in SQL Server using SQL R, technique and pattern. So the point now is why we dig all this in the red team side, because now it's time to understand about, okay, that is very dangerous. Let's go back in the blue side. Let's understand now, this is what I'm very keen to teach you today. You need to understand about the real side of security. All right. So I hope to give you today what you need is a mindset and understanding how you can protect your integration solution against such effective attack. This is just one of them. Just one of them. There are many other attacks that can conduct, but this is very, very effective. So let's begin and look about the defense. Question is, I put laughing here because it's so bad, you know, is thinking how I can block or control something like that. What technology I can use, protect containers, source code scanner, antivirus, wherever it is. So when I go back in the first slide, you know, the big scary slide is about technologies. Let's speak about that. Let's speak about that. We heard a lot from this. Microsoft is pushing a lot. People is pushing a lot. They are fooling our mind about these kind of things, technologies, and network security group, firewalling, antivirus, identity management. Yes, of course, that's all cool. Everything is cool, but I can guarantee you one thing: technology is the last line of defense in security. That is the first things you need to understand. And during my studies, I conduct some experiment. I like to do some experimentation and so on. And the first one was a human experiment. I tried to do some experiment, and inside the company and around wherever, sometimes I look about people, and sometimes people leave the laptop open and unlock. All right, so something I suggested to people is if you see a partner or wherever a colleague is leave the laptop like that open, just open Notepad in his laptop and write, "You have been hacked," with the exclamation point. And looks what's happened. That's going to be very interesting. One of the behavior, and that was very, very interesting point, was about, you see people coming in front of the laptop, coming from because the coffee or wherever, they sit down on the laptop, they look at the laptop like that, and they stay like that, freeze. They look at the laptop, and after that, they say, they look a bit around like that, but they are almost stuck, you know. And they say, like, you know, they're scared. They're scared. You can see that. They're scared because they think about, oh my gosh, someone is actually put their hands on my laptop. They open Notepad and they write down this one. So what am I going to do now? Do I going to speak with my friends here or the other one? Oh, Jess, this is so bad. That's true. I left my laptop open. I can guarantee you. I can guarantee you. Any experiment I did with all the people and observing the people, no one, no one, they just say, hey, who actually did that on my laptop? Apologize. That's true. That was wrong. That was wrong. Nobody, no one, because I'm scared. They are scared about that. And this is a very important point to understand. The human factor. Something you need to understand is security transcends technology. Technology is the very last layer in security, always, always inside always. Technology is the ice on the cake. That is technology. You bake the cake, you made the cake, and you put ice on the cake to make, the cake beautiful. But that is just technology, it's just the ice on the cake. Everything inside is the most important part in security. What is inside? And you need to understand these rules. People first, process second. Technology is the very last layer. All right. You can do wherever you want, but if people are not aware about security, there is no point. You can use any technology you want and you can be secure in your solution. You can do wherever you want and use any technology, but if process is not working, is not secure, right? You cannot have security. Wherever technology you're going to use in your solution, you can use firewalling, you can use wherever you want. You cannot be secure. I can guarantee you that I just need to speak with people in a company, developer or project manager or any person inside the company, and I'm immediately able to understand if your solution, your integration solution is actually secure or not. I understand immediately about that. Just speaking with people. Just looking about the process, I immediately understand. I'm not surprised when I open Azure or a solution, I look at that, I see a big mess about security. Because if I see people and process, they are not secure or not well done, there is no security awareness, there is no point. There is no security for sure. So technology is the very last layer. Don't start from technology to protect your integration solution. Start from people and process. What is about the process? The process is about different things, right? One of the big points in the CI3 Triage, I explain you what exactly is. But first about people and process, what you need to understand is who is accountable. Who is there accountable about security in your company? You need to identify this person, these people, and these are the very one responsible about security. When we say accountable, we say also the name about ultimate responsibility. Who got the ultimate responsibility about security in your company? Usually these people are the very high management. Yeah, all of them. The very high management is the accountable. It's not the security guy. Is not the CISO, is not the person looking about security, is not the responsible about that. The very one accountable is the very high manager. They need to be aware. Every time I go to a company and I see the high management, they don't care about security because maybe it's too much cost. They don't care about security because it's too much expensive. It's slowing down the process, it's slowing down the developer, or wherever think it is, there is no security. There is no point. They, for sure, the solution is not secure. And how much security is enough? That is a question that these people need to understand. And this is something you need to discuss with the accountable people in your company. When you deploy or you develop your code, you develop your integration solution. So security is how much it costs, how much is enough. Security is enough until security and the cost is not going to go over the cost of the business. That is the point, right? Until then security is enough. That is actually where you need to look about understanding this. The CI3 triage is this. What I mean is you have a lot of resources inside your solution, integration solution. Then you need to look about confidentiality, integrity, and availability. What I mean is list all your solution, all the things you have in your solution. Do this tomorrow, Monday. You go back in office, look about your solution, do this exercise. Start listing all the things you have in your solution, function, databases, storage account, wherever it is. Just pick up a little piece of solution and do this exercise. For each one of these, you put in the list and you put the confidentiality, integrity, availability column, and you put 3 levels from low, medium, and high, depending how much is low or high this level. So confidentiality means how much confidential it must be this resource or data, right? So no, I don't want people look about this data. If it's high, then you need to protect a lot on this via maybe externally, firewalling, all these kind of things, encrypting, encryption, integrity, same thing. I don't want these people. I don't want. I want this one information immutable. Okay, we use a lot of mutable inside our integration. So it's very high, then we need to act with anything we can. It can be, of course, encryption, signature, hashing code, everything to keep the information immutable. Availability, we know availability, how much is important. So it's the same thing. We need to look about this and look about how much is important for this kind of resources. When we got the spectrum here, we're actually able to understand very, very, very well how much we need to manage our security in our integration, how to act on specific layer inside. So speaking about the technical side now. So we look about people, we look about process. That's just the most important thing. There's a lot to speak about this, but we, of course, it requires a lot of time discussing about that. But let's now go in the technology side. So we assuming we got a good idea about people and process, CI triage and accountable, all these kind of things. I just gave you the last very important things. Okay, is protect container. Yeah, we can protect container against this attack, of course. Another good thing is less user privilege execution, because actually who's going to execute the code is actually the user, you know, the account executing the code. And use antivirus. It's not good because, I mean, antivirus is performance issue, so I don't think this is something even applicable. And like in this attack, I've been able to avoid Defender. So anyway, I think the first two is much better. Source code scanner. Yeah, okay. I don't think it's working because it works if you use customization in the code scanner. So you actually need in your code scanner to inject this kind of check, which you can do even using regular expression, everything. Yeah, exactly, log4j. Yeah, Leslie log4j. You just got the point. Very good point in the chat, I see. You see, I'm happy to see that from the people in the chat, because the people now are getting exactly my discussion here. Look, log4j. I was discussing, I cannot give you the name about this security company. It's very famous security company about code scanner. Is the well-known, very, very, very well-known. I don't even need to make the name here. I'm sure many of you know about this one. Is also very integrated in Visual Studio. It's very well done. Amazing, amazing, amazing. But that's not marketing. I don't want to do marketing here. But the point is, I was in a session with them in a webinar discussing together, and that was one of my points, because these people always say, oh yeah, we are cool. We do code scanning, blah blah blah. A lot of these things, and other people, other CTO, and discussing about that during this webinar. I say, oh yeah, in our company we do this in code scanning, and I say, this is funny about the Log4j. During my when I did my speech in the meantime, I did my comment and I made my comment. I say, yeah, guys, I really agree with you guys. I mean, it's very nice things. The code scanning is very useful wherever it is. But something intriguing me was the first time I learned about a Log4j attack. The first thing coming in my mind was about, geez, come on, seriously? So all this time, we use a lot of code scanner everywhere. Is it true? Is it true? Using code scanner everywhere, people, solutions, wherever it is, no one got the Log4j attack. No one. They got the Log4j attack just because was just a case, a fortune case. That we need to be honest on that, because people around the world are using code scanner everywhere, open source code scanner, commercial code scanner, wherever it is, everywhere. Nobody got Log4j attack. Nobody. So that is the point. How much useful is code scanner for that? I don't think you can do a lot of stuff doing code scanner here, because how I've been able to avoid Defender when the first time, this is something I gave you another big hint to think, is the first time I was writing the code for that, and the first time I try execute the Visual Studio, and Defender was blocking me, was actually blocking me. I said, what? Okay, Defender is blocking me. That's cool. Yeah, okay. So what I start doing, I start looking about and debugging, Hydra stuff, this kind of thing, looking about what actually is doing Defender, how Defender is able to get my code, everything like that, or wherever it is, it's just scanning my code. What exactly is doing? And I found that actually, yes, Defender was actually scanning my code, or what actually was doing, right? So it's not what was doing, but the code. So what I did, I wrote down the code in a way that the Defender was not able to understand that actually I was executing that code, right? And I use a technique for that, and actually work. And I execute and boom, I say, what the heck? It was working. Well, yes, so in my mind, I'm thinking, if even Defender was not able to understand about this code or whatever it's doing, I don't think a code scanner is able to do something like that, right? So in my mind, I would say at the end, the best option is human on that, always. Not many people use software engineering, and I think it's very important role. So people with very strong expertise on coding, all the things, and looking about the code. So even before, deployment or wherever it is, these people just check the code and look about the code. They try understanding what actually is doing this code. Is it correct? Yes, not? So human, yes, these people in human, they are actually able to look at the code and say, why this logic app is doing something like that? Why this function is actually executing this call? Why is doing this APP call? And maybe even worse, why is using this technique? Why is doing that? That's wrong. That's really bad. Then it can actually act and actually do wherever it can to avoid these kind of things. So in my idea, looking about these kind of things, one important point is this: check the code, and you need to have a people expert on coding, all these kind of things. Look about your code, what you are doing. It's just good, even because he's looking at the code. The code need to be really write down. You need to be performance and everything like that. And why not security? They can look at the code and say, what the heck is that? It's not good. This is dangerous. This is not it's not good. So they can actually do wherever they can. I think it's everything for me now. And I really hope from this session, you really got the point about what is really important about security, and especially how much technology is so irrelevant, in general, when we speak about security, right? So if there is any question, we will be happy to answer your question. I am leaving here you with my contact. Feel free to contact me in LinkedIn. That's my blog. So thank you. Thank you for following this session.
Thank you, Nino. Yeah, very insightful. Thank you for
you.
sharing that. Lots of great comments in the chat there.
Thank you.
So are there any questions? I know you showed some vulnerabilities, potential vulnerabilities so for example, logic apps, and potential ways of kind of exposing those vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
Whilst obviously we've only got a couple more minutes left for the session, are there any kind of top tips? Obviously, in addition to here we go. So there is a question saying, "Hi Nino, have you any thoughts in securing your DevOps pipeline to prevent such malicious code?"
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. That's for a very good question. The pipeline is the most important, one of the most important actually part too. Everything you is actually going to interact with your technology or solution is very important. So starting from people and process and so on. When we speak about process, pipeline is actually inside the process, right? So leave the technology now, leave DevOps, leave wherever you're using to deploy your solution. So is the process must be secure. I see many people using DevOps in the customer. They don't have policies about using DevOps. They don't control in granular about the access in the pipelines, all these kind of things. There are many, many different things to do inside the DevOps, especially in the process. When we see DevOps, I say DevOps is the development and operation, not just the technology itself, right? But yes, of course, there are many things you can do. I did a session in the past using even OWASP is a scanner for web. You can integrate this one in DevOps, but this is technology. Yes, there are many tools in DevOps that you can integrate in the pipeline, able to execute and do scanning, these kind of things. Absolutely. Can you share some insight into security, storing, and handling token? Yes. The best thing is always storage. Storage in technology speaking, and for my experience, is the most important part because we rely a lot on storage. We rely for tokens, security, all these kind of things. So everything is about, clear AZ Connect. Be careful. That's one example. You use a clear AZ Connect to every time down using PowerShell. That's good. That's okay. That's great. That's great. That's amazing. The point is that using PowerShell in the laptop or the server, these kind of things, you need to be always aware that when people or wherever they are using PowerShell, they may be got some code injection. Maybe you there is a section from me where I show the storage cloud credential attack, which actually this attack, injecting some code after a Z content, getting the context, impersonate the concept from PowerShell and create the backdoor in the cloud. So even using clear exact context is a very good, but in my opinion, avoid using PowerShell in machine or server, wherever. It's better to use like approach like the Cloud Shell, Bastion, this kind of approach. Do you have any tips for detecting such malicious attacks and automatic scanner? And the bad things, the bad things is actually looking for these kind of things. So especially do the scanner using regular expression, customize the code scanner, look for TCP, P connection, open TCP, P connection, all these kind of things everywhere inside the code. Look about all these kind of things because you don't want to connectivity outside like that. Always check about the connectivity outside from your company, from your solution. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for for the comment. I think it's everything for me. It's 2 o'clock.
Thank you, Nino. We've reached
welcome.
the end of your hour. So I would like you to share your contact details in the chat, just so that everyone can keep in touch with you.
Yeah, please. Yes. Attach me, ping me on LinkedIn now, and connect. All of them.
Fantastic.
All of you.
Excellent. Awesome.
Thank you,
well,
guys.
thanks once again, Nino, for all your support and for sharing your knowledge. Thank you so much.
Thank you to you.
Okay, great.